Welcome to Organize Anything with Colette Robichaux on 105.9 Seaside FM.
Good morning. Welcome to Organize Anything. My name is Krista Cook, and we are speaking with Colette Robichaux, the organizing coach. Good morning, Colette.
Good morning, Krista. Great to be back and having a nice conversation with you once again.
Wonderful. And today we are going to be speaking about a home office.
Yes, that's right.
Now, does everyone need a home office or just business people?
Well, I believe everyone needs a designated space, which I sort of call a home office, whether it's the whole room or not. So even if you don't work from home, think about the amount of paper that we process one way or another and how much easier that would be if it's in one place. We've got mail, we've got bills, we've got financial info and banking and cards to do for gifts and letters to mail, research, receipts, infos, hobbies, addresses. Wow.
Yes, I know.
And if that's all over your house, how much more difficult is that?
Well, again, then you're disorganized, and then you're left with just an awful feeling of not having that feeling of being able to put your hands on it if you needed it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like even tax time.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people just keep throwing something in a corner going, oh, it's for the taxes.
Yeah, and if it's so difficult to be having to, do the mileage of roaming all over the place to try and find the stuff, how much easier is it to have it together? So whether it's a home office or it's that corner or that command central that you have things for homework or whatever, often it's just better to get in that one location. And even my clients that are retiring now, they're just busier than ever. So they're volunteering and they've got projects to do and, they want to keep information on their gardening or golf trips or travel or things coming up. So we still want something that looks like a home office.
Yes, because people are using computer, and that's generally close to where they're paying their bills. I mean, even if they don't think it's a home office, it's a home office.
Yeah.
So I have always had an area. I have a home office now, but it's not long term. It's actually in my bedroom, so but it's worked perfectly, and we were lucky we had a big enough bedroom where we could incorporate. And but I think, what challenges does a home office have that an out of office doesn't?
Well, as you said, the space is that first issue. So often your home office is part of your bedroom or part of another room, whether it's complete or not. If you are working as a business, and for a lot of my clients that is their revenue, not only for them but for the whole household, I really suggest that you designate that a little bit more for your own space and keep as many other people out as possible. Have some area that is just yours. When you're talking about running a business and papers and even getting on the computer, if you're running a business and you have kids playing video games and doing things and even just getting into information, you think it's email, there's just information there that other people shouldn't be accessing. So, one of those key challenges is finding that ideal space to do this.
Oh, it is hard.
And bringing it together and figuring out what that's going to be like.
Because I think for most people, our houses are filled with what we're using them for, and to incorporate yet another area, home office. I've tried a few areas in my house. This works the best because it really enables you to have the privacy, close the door, don't bother me.
And you can access it a lot of times. Basements can work well physically. There's the extra space, but the truth is, if that's not an area you want to go and work on the projects, we spoke about procrastination on another show. That you want to say, if I'm setting up this home office, what would be a reason for me not to go there? So a lot of times it could be a portable home office in that it's actually a little home office that is, maybe right in the kitchen that we put it away and tuck it away. It looks good, but it's the portable home office in the mini accordion folder. With a little handle, and we tuck it away. So when we're talking about home office today, we're talking big picture. Ideally it would be physically one room, you go in and shut the door, but home office in that it's that environment of how do we create an environment in one space that we do our work. So ideally, one room with the door to block out the distractions is really great. And, if you are working from home and you have clients, it's great if you're locating an area that they're not walking in through your house. And,
so
that as well.
For me, meeting with clients, obviously, I'm not inviting them to my home office at this point, but it's never been an issue because generally you meet outside. It could be at an office, it could be for a lunch meeting, different venues. So it hasn't posed an issue at this point.
Yeah, for most people it isn't.
Because of the nature of my business, though, I'm sure for others, depending on what your service is.
But the majority of people work from home they're doing it because they aren't entertaining clients and they don't have a reason to do that. And it just, I see the difference in, over the years of how that's changed as well. But for most people that work from home, one of the great tactics to sort of keep you enjoying it, and that is to get out. So, even if you could have people at home, it's always nice to, a lot of people work on their own, then they don't always get to see clients. So you want them to be getting out.
Oh, you want to get out there and network and have the ability to experience different areas. I mean, it just gets you in different venues.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest issues for people, that they can feel lonely when they're working from home, and if it's a home office, they can feel isolated. So if you feel like even you're going to be isolated by placing that home office in the basement and it would work better for you somewhere else, you want to really think about that, because you want to, this is a big chunk of your time if you are working, even if you're just doing projects there for other people, but you want to make sure that it's an area that's going to work for you. And I have moved from bigger spaces to smaller spaces just because the people will get there more and they'll be more, more likely to use it.
Good point. So when you look around your home and you're trying to decide which room would be the home office, we say finding an area in which you could close the door and have some privacy, and being able to block out distractions, whether or not clients can access you or not. How do you separate living space from working space?
That's a key, because it sort of goes two directions. Those who get there and say, "Oh, I can't focus on work. I'm off making soup and watching TV and doing laundry," or the other people that say, "I can't get back to my family because I'm just around it all the time and I can't separate it out." So for each person, some of it is physicality and some of it is setting sort of behavioral changes that I will always shut down at 6 o'clock, or when my kids walk in the door, game over. That's
maintaining
it.
a balance. And really sticking to it, which it is challenging.
It is challenging.
To say, it's not been the first time I've heard, okay, could you please stop working?
Exactly. And I think most of us as entrepreneurs know about that. And, as entrepreneurs too, we don't have a set paycheck. So when projects come in, you want to keep working them. But truthfully, if we want to be in a lot of things for the long term, we want to set up some good habits to keep us that way. So physically, if it's open to the rest of the house, you want to make sure that you are not totally impacting the rest of the people, that they don't know, oh gosh, mom's in the middle of something. I can see it. And all that sort of stuff. We don't want to be taking away from their lifestyle. So physically, we don't want it, going into the rest of the house. And I've worked with a lot of people. I go in, it's like, well, here's my home office, but I work from the dining room table. So, so there's, that happens a lot. So then what happens is the kids that want to really be in the mainstream doing their homework can't do it anymore. And maybe they don't want to do it in their room. And if a kid was going to do homework, if they want to do it at the dining room table, I say, I think that's, don't argue with them. Don't, so that's good. So really think about how you are impeding on the rest of the house, how it comes in, and, try and really keep it to your space. That's going to work better for you, and it's going to work better for everybody in the household.
Now, what I've done, I didn't think starting off it would be much of an issue. Sort of figured if the door is closed, that means mom's busy. But not so much. So I put a sign on my door. And if I'm recording, everyone will know ahead of time anyway. But I'll make sure I do any recording, of course, as you said, when it doesn't bother other people.
We also want to think about how that timing works for us. Like, is there a time that the household is noisier? Is it, do you have trains going by, or do you have, what's going on? Like, is the doorbell going to ring more with the courier at a certain time? So you want to sort of work with the rhythm of the house and what's going on. We often talk about working with our circadian rhythm, which is our internal clock, like, to get, to do things in the morning versus a night person and all this sort of stuff. But we want to also think about what's the rhythm of the household then, and how that works. Does dad get home at 4? Does he get home at 8? And when do the kids get home? Or if you're alone, what are some of those other things? Like, how do you work with the rhythm of the house along with your own circadian rhythms?
That is such good advice, because you cannot otherwise make the best decision on where your office will be.
Yeah.
What about furniture?
Well, furniture is something that is important to think about because the options for office furniture can be extremely expensive, and you want to make sure it's right for you. So, good to do a little investigation, a little bit of research. If you're leaving a job where the furniture was provided for you, think about what you liked there, what worked, what didn't work, and go out and try some things. One of the things with starting a home office at home is also recognizing that there can be a lot of time putting some of this stuff together. It's one thing ordering it, and that, you laugh.
I laugh.
Yeah, that's my nightmare.
It is a nightmare. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I haven't been successful.
Yeah, and I have a lot of clients. They call to say, "Do you help set up home offices?" I said, "I do a lot of setting up home offices, but the part I leave out of that is the putting together. Not my forte." But some of the places will put the things together. There's an extra cost, and I say think about that because you don't want to be procrastinating. You don't want to be saying, I've got this project starting, and you've got chairs and desks and things sitting in boxes.
We bought a chair last week. Our newsroom, we needed a new chair, and when we went to check it out, it was $10 extra to have that chair put together, which meant it was so worth it.
Which meant $10. Money well spent. Exactly. Like, really, people listening, think about it. It may seem odd, and, these days we've got weird delivery charges and costs to put things together. But most of the experience, and, I have to say also,
the blood, the sweat, the tears.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then even there, it's just, if you have someone that is good at that, like, get their number and get them involved. But those are the sort of things that can become issues for you. Then you get frustrated right away. So think that through how it's going to work. You don't want to buy necessarily the most expensive furniture because you probably can't afford it, but make sure you're getting something that, that isn't going to, you're not going to sit in your chair for 2 days and it's going to disappear, because these days there's a lot of things that aren't meant for heavy duty use if you are working from a home office. You can buy it, there are desks and there are things like that, but honestly, they don't last that well. So if you're using it, if this is your revenue source, you want it. If you have any issues ergonomically, you want to think about that. You want to think about how your computer is set up. It's a big issue of where the screen is, the elevation, and maybe at work that was just done and you didn't think about it. But now when you're starting over, it's a big deal. You can get frozen shoulder. You can have issues you never thought you had. And I go in and I see people crouching and things are sideways, or they're saying, and then I take the laptop and I sort of sit up here on this stool, and people are ending up, you may get away with that for a while, but there are other people that then end up in physio for 3 or 4 months or have ailments for the rest of their life.
You're listening to Organize Anything with Colette Robichaux. We'll be right back on 105.9 Seaside FM. This is Organize Anything with Colette Robichaux on 105.9 Seaside FM.
Welcome back. I'm Krista Cook, and we are speaking with Colette Robichaux, our organizing coach. Now, Colette, we're talking about setting up a home office.
And we started to talk a little bit about computer and making sure we were, had things set up ergonomically and that sort of thing. So electronics are kind of tricky, putting things together. And
yes, you don't get to call the IT guy.
Well, I have to say that was one of the biggest things I miss when you're challenged a little bit in that realm and afraid. That is a bit of a trick. So also working from home office, you want to know where your resources are. As we said, to put furniture together. If you've got someone like that on speed dial, you might also want to have someone for IT as well.
A really good recommendation on IT, because you will need it eventually.
For sure. And that's the thing that you have to realize. You are now one person. Before, if the fax machine didn't work or this happened, and that's where a lot of people really get slowed down and bogged down. So, if you have other friends that are doing it, I know a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs as well, and we sort of share those resources.
Oh, gosh,
do you know a good guy to do that?
Information.
Yeah, where did you buy that? A lot of us like to buy secondhand equipment and source that out. So, good places to look for that. Ask people where they bought it, or sometimes we were talking on the break about shopping on Kijiji, putting things out there.
Yes, office furniture. I was mentioning I bought some new furniture, like my filing cabinet. It was brand new. My desk, it's a beautiful desk. Kijiji, $40.
Yeah.
So I put the money on the things that I needed the longest and that were the most important. So my technology is new and my chair, because as you said, ergonomically, so important. I found it the hard way.
Right, yeah.
And as you said, you don't have someone immediately looking at you and going, you are so sitting the wrong way. And usually by the time something hurts, it's too late.
It's too late. And if anyone's wondering about that, we drew up a little diagram of, where your chair should be and some other things. So if they're interested, they can contact me through the website, organizeanything.com. We can email that out to them. But like you, I splurged on the chair. I bought my filing cabinets, a few of them secondhand and things like that. And, again, it's environmentally better when you know that you're buying secondhand and doing that sort of thing. It's going to save you some money. And, at home, it doesn't matter as much if it's matchy. You want to make sure it works and things like that. Yeah,
it's
functional.
All about functionality. Yeah. It's funny. It really changes your perspective differently. I spent 25 years working outside the home, and to work inside, I mean, there's so many differences. And speaking of differences, let's talk about some of the advantages of a home office.
Oh, for sure.
Now, flexibility.
Yeah.
For me, it was the flexibility to be able to have a schedule that was not 8 to 4 every day.
And that's why women with families are one of the fastest growing people working from home, because they can work that schedule. I know people that just work till 3 till their kids come home, or they work a couple days a week. So, really nice. We are very content when we're living life on our terms, and to be an entrepreneur and working from a home office is great. But even people that are still working for companies, just that ability to work from home still allows them to get the kids off. It allows them, you're saving the time in the commute, all that sort of thing. Some days then maybe you don't have to worry about being all dressed up in your business clothes, spending the extra time with a lot of that. So a lot of savings, we've got the tax benefits, we've got the comfort. And, a lot of times, you go from walking to your office to getting that soup on and getting ready for dinner. You may be eating
the convenience.
Unbelievable. You are able to, instead of worrying, picking up that takeout food, which is just money and calories and all that sort of stuff and extra garbage and all of that, we can make ourselves some healthier meals because we have time. And we did another show on procrastination. So some of that creative procrastination is, I'm going to take a break now. I'm going to, make myself a soup, or I'm going to put some laundry in. So it becomes a very good environment to be able to work like that. Trouble areas there as well. These are the benefits.
The advantages. Yes,
the advantages are also challenges as well. And the tax benefits of the write-off of a portion of the house. Sometimes people overrate how much that is, but make sure you're checking with your accountant to be sure that you are taking advantage of it in the right way. And that's the other thing people forget with a home office, that they're not as educated into what those write-offs are. They're not as educated in recognizing they have to keep the receipts. They might have needed receipts before for a reimbursement, but now you need receipts for everything. You need to be able to store them and archive them for 7 years plus, and all that sort of thing. So you have to start setting up those systems. In a work environment, those systems were set up for you.
So now, for the most part.
Yeah. And a lot of times you are very busy in the beginning getting the physicality together, putting the stuff together.
You have to have it workable.
Yeah.
For example, I know it is most effective to be in a U position, your desk.
A U or an L for sure.
And I love my U.
Good, excellent.
And it is so much more efficient. And something as small as that can just make such a difference.
Oh, it's very big. So either a U or an L, it gives you enough room. By the time you get the computer on a small desk, people are often, that's one of the things I see, trying to work from something that is just, it's like 4 feet wide and the computer barely fits. Like, what's that about?
Yes.
Well, you need an area, a desktop to be able to work on. We still write. We still take notes on the phone. You want to make sure the phone is in that right place. If you're, left-handed, pick it up with your right so you can write with your left hand. So get it over on the right, on the correct side. So, lots of things to think through like that, but people get caught up in setting up the physicality and then they forget the systems. And often I'll see people that are 3 years in and they haven't set up a system, and maybe they haven't paid their taxes or this or that. So, again, don't be afraid to look for a little help. If you're not, calling someone like me, a professional organizer and coach, to assist you, see if you can buddy up with some friends that were entrepreneurs and say, how did you deal with this? What works well for you? Maybe you can barter. You help me with this, I'll help you with something else.
And also those friends and support system are great cheerleaders for the
sure.
days that you're not feeling maybe as cheery as you would like.
Yeah.
I know one of the disadvantages of a home office, and people have to think about this, you have got to have discipline.
For sure.
Because it is so easy to just, you're in your home. You can get, there's so many things to do.
Yeah.
So
it's
you have to be focused.
You have to be focused, or
you
you have to also, we can do that through some systems, set up some systems of accountability and reward that work for you. But often people outside of just the home office, that idea of working for yourself, there is a lack of accountability. You can say to yourself, I'm going to do that for 4 years and it doesn't get done. So that's why, as a organizing coach, that's why people work with me. It's like, I'm getting these things done. I've been trying to do that for 7 years. So whether you're working with a coach to create that accountability, or you think, how can I create that with a buddy entrepreneur or with a partner? You've got to create things that force you into getting things done, routines, deadlines, reward systems, because we can just sort of go out there. And for other people that were managed, that's a big shock to them to have sort of this open space. It's sort of like take the fence down and let the horses go. Where are they going to go? So we have to be quite careful about that.
I know another thing, and we mentioned about the advantages of a home office. You can save time getting to work. Well, the money I save by not going to an office outside of my house every day between, all the things that you would buy, whether it was the coffee or whether it was going out for lunch or whether it was the pantyhose. God forbid. I think I should own a pantyhose company. So it's amazing.
It is amazing.
A lot of money. You can save a lot of money. Those are things that are sort of the domino effect, and you may not immediately think of.
Yeah, those are real cost-saving things for sure, and people don't recognize, because often we don't track our money. We know we never seem to have enough, no matter what money we make. But a lot of times when I start working with clients, we put little budgets together, try and figure out, it's, doing a little assessment of where you spent that money, and, the lunches, the, stopping, the running around the corner with the gang for the coffee. The coffee turns into $6 these days, or a coffee is $6, whatever it is, and a lunch and that sort of thing. So what we're finding a lot is people can get healthier habits from being at home. They can actually, easier for them to run out and exercise first thing in the morning because they seem to have a little more time, or even midday. I know for me, there were a couple of summers when I was working, I went and took my bike out for half an hour over when I was having a break, things that I would have never thought to do.
Your rewards,
right? So it was really great. So different things that you can try and sample, and it just works really well.
Now, for those that are thinking, okay, I have a home office, we have this space, you can use your home office for other uses.
For sure.
So, mine being bedroom office.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone else may be guest room.
All kinds of things, for sure. And, this is, again, where if you don't need a designated office for work or whatever, how can you make this work? So, a lot of times I'll help people with that spare room, and we make it into, it's actually the home office, which is based for your projects and your volunteering and you're doing the mails and the bill. But we can also work that into an exercise room or a meditation area. It's the gift wrapping room, it's the craft room. So, think creatively about that. A lot of times people have a room, it's sort of like the spare room has turned into the junk room, like the junk drawer you have in your kitchen.
Oh, yes.
So people say, I don't have any room to do anything. But it really, a lot of times that junk room is like that junk drawer where you throw it in and really shut the door quickly. So wonder if you're sitting out there, some people with that junk room that, was a spare room once, a guest room, and it's just laden. But think about how you can turn that into your home office and also your craft area, and have a little mat with a few weights or whatever to exercise and things like that. And again, when everything is local like that, you have your scissors, you have your stamps, you have your laptop, you have all kinds of things there that, yes, you can take your laptop out, but to have it all together, it really is a big relief, and it just works so much better to get things done.
And the thing is, by having a mixed room like that, you're working away and you want to take a break. Some people may want to take their break doing crafts, which is in that room. I mean, it can just be options.
Yeah, it is options. And a lot of times when you're talking about crafts, to get started on something, people are doing scrapbooking or they're working on a project. When you're doing that on the dining room table, how disruptive is that? Or you're not going to get started because I can only do that. I only have a window of this much time.
Yes,
so to have the other room and to have an extra little area there to work on these projects, it just is much more ideal.
So I think the important rule to this is, in terms of what else you can use your home office for, just think it's not just for business.
That's right. So home office is great for everybody. It's great for the retiree who volunteers. It's great for the person just, managing their bills, their paperwork, their financials, their retirement plans. And just think about how great that home office can be. And I'm sure you've got some good tips on how to make it work today. If you want some more tips, you can contact me, Colette Robichaud, the organizing coach, at organizeanything.com.
Wonderful. Such an informative show. Thank you so much, Colette, and thank you all for listening. Have a wonderful day.